The views and opinions expressed on Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar are those of its host and guests exclusively. They do not represent any entity, organization, or municipality.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
It will. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. This is Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. How are you guys doing today? Thank you for joining us. March 25th, the year of our Lord, 2022.
2022.
We have Jeremy in the house here. Jeremy,
what's up, guys? How you doing?
So how's everything, Jeremy? How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good,
Everything okay?
Yeah.
You staying out of trouble or what?
Not too shabby. Yeah, not too shabby at all.
Let me move this here. So, anyway, today we're looking at. I'm just gonna move my camera here a little bit. We're live. Yeah. Today is a beautiful day out today. I went rowing today.
Oh yeah, I spent the entire day indoors.
It was a beautiful day. And for our Spotify guests and our podcast, we're live on also YouTube, Rumble. Yeah. And Facebook,
of course. And then after our live run, we go to the podcast, and that's iTunes, Spotify, you name it. Wherever there's a podcast, you can find Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar.
Right, and we have a lifeguard show, Lifeguard Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar. Yeah. We have two other shows, Painless with Dr. Jasper, and
Radio Free America with Dr. Barbara. Schneider.
So just look for us out there.
Yeah, and please, guys, we are a non-profit group, so all we want to do is get the word out about our shows, and the best way to do that is by word of mouth and by you guys out there who listen to us from week to week. So if you could share our broadcasts on your Facebook or whatever social media group you belong to, Rumble, whatever, that would be great.
Subscribe too.
Yeah, and subscribe.
Subscribe is the most important thing on YouTube. Yeah, let me, and throw it our email address, please. We have an email address. We want to just throw that out again. It's Dr. Kachmar. That's Kachmar at iCloud.com.
That's
iCloud.
Right.
And you can send us an email. And let us know what you're thinking. If you want to come on the show, we do have certain people coming on our show. You could Zoom in or you could call in. We really love to get you on the show and get some information if you want to talk to us about that. And that's it. Yeah. So Jeremy, let's start our show today.
Let's do it.
So we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects here. Subject is we're going to talk about shoe gear. So Jeremy, can you go to the my iPad there? Yeah. So Jeremy's going to go to the iPad here. So here is something. This is an article, and it says scientists explain why wearing shoes inside is just plain gross. Yeah. Just plain gross.
A lot of us, some of us anyway, have known about that for quite a while, but the facts that Dr. Kachmar was spitting to me while we were on the way into the studio, that.
So go to me. Okay. While you're talking, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You got to listen in on this one, because especially you moms out there that are clean freaks, it's gonna blow your mind.
Well, that's the thing. So let's go back to the iPad here. So what we have here, this is a great article, and I just want to show people here. You can look at it. And what we're talking about is they did a study. They took people's shoes, believe it or not, and swabbed the bottom of their shoes. And here's the other thing. There's a couple interesting things. And what they did, they swabbed the bottom of the shoes, and they found out what organisms grow in there. But here's a funny kind of thing. It says people spend up to 90% of their time indoors So questioning whether or not to wear shoes in house is not a trivial one. Now, I don't know about that, but I guess if you really think about it, half the time, I mean, you're probably sleeping. And I don't know, but we spend a lot of time indoors.
Right.
And and you think about it.
Some of us, when we come in, and it's also like what people in general and what their habits are. A lot of people come in, they walk through the house, get up to where their room maybe, and then they kick their shoes off. Right. But you'd be surprised, but what you're trailing through the house here.
Right. So what you have here, it's right. So here they did the study. And they found these organisms that are on the shoe and floors were drug-resistant pathogens. And it's also including hospital-associated infectious agent, germs, that are very difficult to treat. There's also a large amount of asphalt road residue. I guess people walk on the asphalt. If you go walking your dog or something, that stuff actually gets picked up on your shoes. And there's lawn chemicals. A lot of lawn chemicals,
especially this time of year when everybody's getting their lawn, and
you go out
ready
there
for the spring and summer.
So they did this. They antibiotic resistant genes. They're talking about all these things: microplastics, radioactive elements, potential toxic metals, and it's pretty interesting, the stuff that they found. This is a really crazy article here. And I never thought about doing that, about doing this study. And you could go on here, and it goes on and on and on. And so I think what we need to do, let's Jeremy, put me back on so we can see each other.
Of course.
So I think that what I'm saying here is that we wear our shoes outside and our boots or whatever. Mm-hmm. We go play in the yard with the dog. We go to the beach. We walk on the asphalt, walking our dog. Yeah. We maybe work out in the yard. And then you step on, there's this bird poop out there, there's dog poop.
All kinds
all
of
this stuff. And you bring it into the house. Now, it's one thing if you do it one time, but it goes over, on and on. And
see, a lot of people are under the misapprehension that germs don't move from where they are, or organisms or whatever. So what's on your shoe, well, it's not going to get me sick. It's all the way down there at my feet. No, these things move, and wind blows them, and now they're in the air, floating around until wherever they land. If you bring this stuff into your home, you're bringing it into your home where your family and your kids are. And in these viral, scary times, you got to be a little bit more careful.
I'm not saying you could spread corona on your shoes,
but we're not even saying the big C word here, Mike.
So let's go over to the whiteboard. Shoe therapy. Shoe. Can shoes be a super spreader?
Can they be a super spreader? Not for butter on your bread, certainly, but
and should shoes be quarantined? Should they be quarantined?
Should you corral your shoes up?
Should they be quarantined?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. What I do in my personal life is when I get home, I have a pair of Crocs, and I take
Mike is very Mr. Rogers when he comes home. He comes in, he kicks off his shoes, he puts them on, he puts on a little Mr. Rogers sweater, and he's good to go.
Well, if you have hardwood floors and you walk in with regular shoes, there's dirt and grime, and it beats the floors up. Carpet has got to be the worst because a lot of the stuff that you have on your bottom of your feet,
that's going down into the bottom, especially if you have a shaggier carpet, then that stuff that goes down there and it's trapped in there. And you know what? Vacuums, they don't do it. They don't do it. You're going to need some carpet cleaning to get all that stuff. And some of you listening to this right now, you might be looking around your house and thinking, well, oh shit. What are we going to do?
From a medical standpoint, I would not recommend carpets in any house. Yeah. If you could afford it, especially if your children are asthmatic or like with a pet. Let's good example.
Yeah.
Let's just say, your better half, she wants to have a cat, and you're kind of allergic to a cat. It's going to be way, way worse if you have a carpet as opposed to hardwood floors, because at least you could vacuum up the floors, get that dander out of there, and you might have a chance of not having as much allergic reaction.
Yeah.
But from the standpoint of being the floor dirty, a lot of people say, I clean the floor, and how would it get dirty anyway? Where's the dirt coming from? Well, I'm telling you right now, you're bringing it in on the bottom of your shoes.
The second you leave your house, your shoes are picking up stuff.
Right, and it's not, and you got to think about it, Jeremy. It's a little bit every day, a little bit every day, a little bit every day, and what this study is showing here, that there's carcinogens, there's like the lawn, your chemicals. Even though you walk on the asphalt, that material gets in your shoes and it gets on the floor. Now, can you imagine having your little baby, walking around on the floor? We all do that, and we think
But if your kids are outside and they're running across the grass, well, that grass has been pooped on by raccoons, squirrels, birds, any kind of livestock that's out there.
And it depends on where you live too, because if you live near a college, it's probably a lot of human beings.
Yeah. If you're living in a neighborhood where the deer are roaming free, you got deer poop now you're talking about. It's a lot to think about. You know?
So we're going to recommend, what we're saying in this situation is that the study brought to my mind about how, whereas we could, especially with the coronavirus and isolation, and we talk about quarantine. So I think our shoes should be quarantined. When you come home, you should have a quarantine section for your shoes.
A shoe cozy
quarantine center. And they should be quarantined.
Right.
Now, do you have to clean them and all that? I don't know. I think that.
Because I was saying, so Dr. Mike, what do we do about our shoes? And I was saying, like those lights that are supposed to eliminate all bacteria and germs. I mean, do you scan your shoes when you come home with this light so you're not?
Well, I tell you what we do. And I've seen people do. Lysol is a great product. You spray your shoes with Lysol, the bottom, the top. You clean them every once in a while. But I think that, excuse me, I think the biggest thing to do is not to wear the shoes in the house. Take them off. I think there's a lot of cultures where your shoes come off.
Yeah.
And you wear slippers.
And that is for a specific reason, because they know things are dirty. Like in certain countries they don't shake the hand they wipe with.
Right. Well, yeah.
It's that kind of same attention to cleanliness that these other countries are doing.
I think that if you're, because of this coronavirus, we're kind of a little bit on edge as far as bacteria go and viruses and all of that. And I think that this study shows that this is one way the stuff's getting in your house. And I make a funny joke, but the shoe can be a super spreader of a lot of things. Yeah. And what you get from fecal contamination is E. coli, which is a nasty organism. And so what do you do? I like Crocs, flip-flops, whatever you want to wear. Yeah. You should get, and I don't think just going barefoot is the best way either, because some people's feet are dirty.
You know what? I got to say, I don't like seeing people's feet. Like in an open toe shoe or anything, or flip flops. Forget flip flops.
Well, people have lesions on their feet,
and some people are just plain nasty. Like I was at a convention, that convention I was talking to you about.
Yeah.
And me and my friend Danny were there, and we were just sitting down, and I was looking down because I was pooped walking around all day, And these people walked right past me. They're wearing flip flops. Their toenails grew out past the edge of the flip-flop and curved down in. Like, folks, if you're wearing shoes that show your feet, what the hell are you doing? Take care of your feet. Look, that's why I'm working with a doctor, podiatric, what is it?
Podiatrist.
Yeah,
podiatric surgeon.
Podiatric
Thank you.
Surgery.
I'm paying you for this.
Yeah, I know. You're getting the good stuff, though.
I'm getting the good stuff. Yeah, I gotta send you to school. So
yeah. Podiatric medicine here, man. And this guy knows this stuff. You have to listen. When a podiatric surgeon's daughter talks, people listen.
Yeah, I just think it's a great idea that when this article came out, and you can see all the stuff here.
It's stuff you don't think about, is it, Mike? You don't think about that stuff, like what's on your feet. You wear shoes to protect your feet, but you don't think about the dangerous, stuff you're dragging in that might endanger yourself or your family.
Well, yeah, and I want to hit a couple other things too, because you need to understand that you could bring in a tremendous amount of bacteria, viruses, really nasty chemicals with your shoes. So I tell everybody, quarantine your shoes, put them in, have a little spot when you come in, you want to put on something else. Crocs are real good, flip-flops, and they just stay in the house. And this is what you should walk around. Slippers, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. Now, from a medical standpoint, I want to make another point about shoes and shoe gear. Okay? And I call it shoe therapy. And so I'm a doctor.
Really? Okay.
And we see a lot of people come in the office. They have a lot of pain in their toes, in their feet. And would you believe that? A lot of times people wearing the inappropriate shoes. You would think it's common sense, but a lot of times I would say 20-30% of people that I see, if they just change the shoe gear, their pain goes away.
Yeah, because so many people have different types of feet. Some people have high arches. Some people are flat-footed. And the shoe wear you choose to don on your feet are very important.
Absolutely. I see these people, they wear these flat shoes. They have no support whatsoever. None whatsoever. Yeah. And that really is, flattens the foot out, and they get really pain. Yeah. A lot of people, and don't want to sound chauvinistic, but mostly a lot of women, their shoe is way too small for their foot.
Yeah.
I'm a 10, I'm an 8. And I take the shoe off. And what I do is I take the shoe and I make an outline on a piece of paper of it. And then I have their foot go down. Their foot's like twice the size. Yeah. And you're stuffing about 10 pounds of potato in a 5-pound bag. And then you wonder why all their toes are getting rubbed and pushed, around, and they were getting, sores. Can you do me a favor, Jeremy? Put back on the thing here, on our, so here's just to give you some of the shoes. I don't know why I can't get rid of this thing here. Continue with email, continue with Facebook. But so these are some shoes we have here, and you can see the top left is a waterproof running shoe, hiking shoe. These are the kind of things.
Whoa, scroll back down.
Which one?
Let's keep going.
Oh,
it's the mouse. It's the mouse up top. It was up on the screen there. Keep going up if you
look at this thing here. These are just terrible. Look at this one right here, right in front of us. That's got nothing. See that one? There's nothing there.
Oh, this thing? Yeah.
People
are, but see, that's the thing, Mike. People are more concerned about how they look instead of how they feel.
Right. I'm just giving you, this is just all kinds of shoes here, which is a crazy thing to look at. Right. You can get out of that, Jeremy. Yeah, all right. So what I do is when we say the word shoe therapy, it's actually a treatment protocol that we set up. I'll have people come in and I get these old ladies and old men. They're getting ulcers, they're getting sores, they're getting pain, and one of the reasons what happens is as you get older, Jeremy, you lose your fat on the bottom of your foot, and so the bones become very prominent. Yeah, and you get pain. One of the best things to buy for somebody like that is a running shoe, and I get these people all the time. Well, doctor, I don't run. As if you cannot buy a running shoe and use a running shoe unless you run.
Yeah. No,
how many people say, "Oh, I don't run. What do I need a running shoe?" Well, because a running shoe is
they're designed to protect you for when you're running. So if they're designed to protect you when you're at your physical peak and running, then they'll protect you for any other reason.
Yes. Even
is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's why I get the big bucks.
That's why you get the big bucks.
Yeah.
And that concept that you just explained,
right?
It eludes many people that are in my office.
Does it really?
Yeah. And I'm like, why don't you get a running shoe? Well, I thought about it, but I'm not a runner. I said, listen, nobody's going to tell you you can't have it because you're not a runner.
Right.
And the other thing that I see is that they don't understand the sizes of shoes.
Yeah.
So shoes have different sizes, and there's the normal size. Let me see if I could SHO. See if I could dig it up here. Shoe size. Yes. Let me see. And there is shoe sizes that are out there. And let me just see if we could get this here. If Jeremy, let me just see if we could blow this up here. And is it clear? Can you see it? Let's see. I want to get the. This is a chart here. I don't know how clear it's going to be.
Yeah, I think the picture's not clear. That's why.
Let me see. So you have, when you buy a shoe, right? You have a size. You have a 10, a 10 and a half, but there's also the width of the shoe, and there's E's and there's D's. I'm trying to find here.
I have.
Here it is, narrow width. So here you go.
I have wide feet, so I need to get, when I get a shoe, it's got to be my size, but then it's got to be wide.
Right. So here's the thing. Here it says, find your perfect width at Shoe Carnival. That's just an advertisement. Yeah. But what I want people to understand is that most of the shoes are, they say a medium, or it's just normal. The other way to look at it is there. See here it says E, A's. Yeah. You want to get, or B or D. The first thing you want to get is wide shoe would be a D. Right. The letter D. See, it says D there, and a D width is equal to men's medium. But if you really have a really bad foot, you could go into E, a 2E or a 4E. So you have A, B, C, D, and E. You understand? That's the width of the shoe, not the length. Yeah. So if you're a 10.5, right? Let's just say you're a 10.5. Not everybody who's a 10.5 has the same width. So most shoes, when they make them, there's a formula. Mm-hmm. And the formula, you go back to me. The formula is the width and the length are equal. It's a ratio. Now, if you have a weird foot, say you're born with a foot that's wider, or you have a deformity, hammer toes, bunions, whatever, your 10.5, you are not going to be the average width of a normal 10.5 foot. Right. Your width might be more akin to a 11 or 12. Right. But you can't get 11 or 12. Your foot will fall off.
So what you're really saying is that, there's sizes and there's widths, but at the end of the day, your foot is very unique to you. And
you should get measured.
Yeah, you should get measured.
But if you want to wing it and say you want to order it online, you think your shoe is too tight and it's pushing on your toes, right. I would go. The first thing I would do is whatever your size is. It's a 10.
Would you recommend buying them online or rather going into a store?
You could measure them. You could go to a store. A lot of stores don't measure them. You could actually get online. Some of these online vendors will send you a piece of paper. You could put your foot on it and kind of measure it. It's pretty straightforward. But what you do is let's just say you're a 10.5 and you get to 10.5. But if you might want to go with a D. The first wider shoe is a D. A D. A D. Yeah, letter D, like in dog, Donald.
Hey, shoes, bras, I love them both.
Yeah, and then because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go bigger, 11
or a double D.
But no, well, you could do double D. But the next thing is, instead of going long, like a longer shoe, because then you float all over the place, you'll fall out. Right. You go wider. The next thing is, and what I tell people, go to an E.
Right. Ooh. Hey, I'll go there. Yeah.
And it's either a 2E or a 4E, and that's how I tell people. And that's about the widest shoe. Now you're going to start looking like Herman Munster, but
beyond that, you're probably an elephant.
Yeah, and I think that people should try to work with a D, but I don't think people know or realize that there's different widths out there, and that these different widths make a big difference.
And terrain is important. The footwear you wear when you're out and about, and like say you're walking on uneven ground, or you're walking, your feet pay for all of that. So being sure to find the proper footwear is extremely important.
Well, the other thing when we talk about shoe therapy is what's going to happen now this time of year, and we see a lot of this. You have a lot of the gals wearing their high heel shoes all winter, believe it or not. They'll wear boots when it's raining or snowing. But the springtime, what do they start doing? They start wearing flats. They start wearing little sandals with no heel. Yeah. So they've been used to having a high heel all winter long. And what happens is the muscle in the back of your leg starts to get tight.
See, that's something I have never heard anybody talk about. That's fascinating.
And what you'll see now is what'll happen is the girls will start coming into the office or even ER with a lot of back pain in their calf and their heel, because they're going from the high heel to the flat, and it's just too much. The muscle is not accommodative, and you got to start stretching. So what you want to do in the beginning of the spring is you don't want to go 8-9 hours with a pair of flats. Mm-hmm. You might want to do an hour here. Probably what I would do is have a brand new pair of flats, maybe in the house. When you get home, take your heels off and wear the flats for a while, a couple hours, and then you're going to go to sleep. Whatever. Next day, you try to bring yourself into it. But we see a lot of that. They get tendonitis, they get calf pain. It's because they're going from the high heel to the flat way too quick, and they're wearing them all the time. A lot of people, as soon as the school teachers, I get a lot of them, they're wearing the high heels, they got to dress up real nice. As soon as, they get out of school, bang, they're flip flops for the rest of the summer, and then they come in, their calves are hurting them, their Achilles tendon is hurting them, and they don't know why. They didn't do anything other than it's shoe gear. So you might want to go maybe not so quick into a flat. You might want to get a transition, maybe out of the heel to a running shoe.
Oh.
Maybe you want to put a heel lift in there. You could actually get some pads and put them in there. You could buy Dr. Scholl's, but you want to keep the heel up. You want to go down gradually.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? Gradually.
Yeah, I mean, your body is more complex than you realize, and all these little appendages we have sticking out from our fingers to our toes. I mean, there's an instruction manual that comes with all that, and you go to guys like Dr. Mike here to find out about that instruction manual. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, and listen, while Dr. Mike is working on his iPad here, I just want to announce an event that's happening. It's a recruitment event down at the Seaside Heights.
Yes, we want to talk
Seaside
about that.
Beach Patrol. If your kid's 16 or older, want to be a lifeguard, and that's a great thing for them to be during the summer months, and think about as a career too. On April 24th, May 1st, May 15th, and May 24th, they're going to have tryouts at the Toms River Fitness at 12 noon on those dates.
And Dr. Kachmar will be there.
Dr. Kachmar will be there. He'll be signing autographs. And the test is 500 meters in 10 minutes or less. If you can do that, you got a good shot. And all you kids, just, this gives you direction. And the importance about joining something like the lifeguard is you also are networking, you're meeting people, and that can always pay off down the line where it gets you a better job, and all of that. And, being in a part of a group like this where each of you are counting on each other to get the job done, it's a good lesson for young kids to learn.
Yes, and you don't have to know anything else. If you could pass the swim test, we'll train you.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So don't worry about that. We teach you CPR. We get all of that. We're gonna you could have the ability. You have the potential to save somebody's life, which is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
You work out. You're in the sun. We supervise you. You're not gonna just thrown out there to the lions. Then we train you. You're gonna swim. We're gonna bring you up. You can learn how to use maybe a paddle board, make rescues. It's a great job. There's a lot of incentives too. We pay overtime. Time and a half over 40 hours. I think they did it last year. I think they're going to bring it back again this year, where if you stay until Labor Day, you get 1 week's full pay.
Oh wow!
And we got a lot of breaks. I mean, it's a really nice environment. It's a lot of fun.
This is a great way for you to make money during the summer months. On your nights out, you're not subject to staying at home. You got some money in your pocket. You could take your best girl out, have a good time. But you can do it, and you get a sense of pride, especially when you save your first person. That's a life that has been changed because of you.
Right. So we started 16 years old. We take 17, 18, 19, 20. We actually would love to take lifeguards who are working on other beaches. If you feel that you need a change or you want to come, try something different, we'll take people with experience. We love that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, Jeremy, let's go back to my my iPad here. I want to show you. I want to do the sizes again here. I got another. So just on
this is better.
Right, so this one here, what I want to just show, this one here is very important. So up top here, you can see U.S. sizes, and it's not, but the top row for people on the podcast.
Let me get this.
The numbers. What's that, Jeremy?
I just wanted to get the thing off the screen so you can see it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So what you have now is narrow. So it doesn't matter what the size is, 4, 5, 5. It looks like it goes from 4, 4.5 to 5, 5.5 to 6, all the way down. But what else you have is, so narrow, the numbers, when you look at the tongue, you look at the tongue of the shoe.
Yeah.
Narrow would be a 2A, an A, a double A, or an N. That's narrow.
So that information is written on the tongue of the shoe?
Yes, it's written on the tongue. If you look at the shoe, the shoe, it'll say that. So if it says 2A or A, that means it's narrow.
Okay.
Now a medium, which is most of your shoes that are sold, they're sold kind of like medium.
Okay.
That they may not say that, but it's be an M or a B or an MW or an R.
R, okay.
Now I don't know why it's R. I figured what the but basically that's the most common shoe you're going to get. It's kind of like they build it that way.
Okay.
Now for the people who have hammer toes, bunions, lesions, whatever. And
Or maybe just wide feet. How about that?
Well, wide feet.
Because I
right.
need
flat
this,
feet,
and
flat
I don't
or
have...
flat feet, right? Or what do we call them? Fred Flintstone feet.
Oh yeah, too.
Right. That would be on the tongue. It would say a D, which would be the entry level wide. A
Okay.
D. I wear D. I get D. I got a flat foot. My foot's not wide. It's flat. And when your foot flattens out, you need something. Also, if the doctor is saying you want an orthotic, or you want to buy one of those orthotics over the online,
you see them. You see them at like Dr. Scholl's.
You're better off coming to our office to get a custom made. But here's my point: if you are going to get an orthotic, you either take the inner sole that the shoe has, because a lot of running shoes have removable inner soles, so you could take that inner sole out and put your in, or you want to get a wider shoe to accommodate it. Most of the time, you want to take the inner sole out. It's too much stuff.
Since you mentioned it, can you walk us through what you do, like a custom-made inner sole?
Yeah,
I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, let me. That's a good question. Let me finish with the wide. So the wide on the tongue would be, it would say D is the entry level, and then E. And what I recommend to my patients is usually 2E. If a D is not big enough, and they got like a really deformed foot, the 2E is the way to go. 4E is like, it looks like Herman Munster. I mean, it looks like a real. But the 2E is really pretty good. And a lot of people, just doing that, Jeremy, makes a huge difference to these people. Yeah. But I don't think a lot of people understand that. It's not, and I'm not talking about changing the size, not the length. If you're a 10, you could be getting, instead of going to an 11 or 10 and a half, if you have a 10, your shoe feels tight, you might want to go to a 10D. D is in David. Right. And that might be really what you need. Because if you go to the 10 and a half, your heel's coming out, it's too loose.
Well, these are women's shoes we're talking
Doesn't
about.
matter. Here's the men's right here. Yeah. Same stuff. It's all the same stuff.
Okay.
Men's, women's, So that's conversion. But and that's another thing too. Don't go by what the sizes say. Go by what it feels like. Try it on. Yeah. Because a 10 and a half made in England, or 10 and a half made in Vietnam, a 10 and a half made in America, a lot of times the quality control is not the greatest.
Right.
And I've seen shoes that could, a 10 and a half, you take 100 shoes that are different brands and they're marked 10 and a half, and they could be wildly off. Yeah. Wildly off, because they're making them, and if they put the wrong stamp on it, it could say 10 and a half, and it might be a 9 and a half. Yeah. So don't go by that. Don't go by that. Go by.
But don't wear very small shoes just because they look stylish.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna hurt yourself. If you got hobbit feet, people are gonna know one way or the other.
Right. You could get rid of this, Jeremy. Okay. And I'm gonna pull, put your So the other thing you have is with high heels. There's a formula that people talk about, right. And they say if you want to keep the heel, and this is with women now, but even men who wear, listen, men nowadays, I should say anybody who wears heels, you want to keep it. The research suggests you keep the heel below 1.5 inches. It seems that's the magic number. Anything.
Now, what about these girls that are wearing these stiletto heels?
6 inch. Well, God bless them, But I mean, just saying that if you're getting pain,
so will they be paying for that down the line?
They might. But here's the thing: if you have pain and you're wearing a 6 inch or 5 inch heel, go down to 1.5. You still got a heel, and it might reduce the amount of pain tremendously. Because what's happening is your foot's getting shoved into the shoebox, and the toes are getting squished, and they're killing you. Yeah. A lot of times, what I'll see is these girls come in, they got fungal nails. Their nails are thick, they got like a fungal, and then they shove it in the shoe, and it kills them. It kills them. So I recommend to them that they lower their heel.
You're a special type of guy, because I have a thing, like most people, and girls especially. Girls have a weird thing about feet. They don't like looking at theirs. They don't like looking at other people's. Being a doctor of a podiatrist, you got to be a special fella, because feet can get nasty, and when they get nasty, they bring them to guys like you.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of surgery. I tell you what's bad is when we get a lot of trauma, and you look at the people's.
Well, that's why, if any Vietnam movie you've ever watched, there's always that drill sergeant that tells you, the number one thing you take care of is your feet, and
that's what do you call it? Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Yeah. Captain Dan said that.
That was Forrest Gump.
And but it's important. Even in like Band of Brothers, I saw trench foot. They were getting back then because they're stuck in the trenches and but they were also stuck in like harsh weather, like snow and stuff, and they were getting frostbitten and stuff. But for our everyday people here today, just realize that your feet are important. They're the main vehicle of transportation that we use to get around in this world. So protecting them, reading about how you can treat them right and take care of them is very important.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, positively. And Jeremy, let's go back to the my iPad here. So we want to talk about orthotics too. So shoe gear is important.
Right.
Shoe gear, you want to get wide, you want to lower the heel, you want to get a wide toe box. There's also, before I forget, there's also a thing called extra depth shoes where the toe box, where the toes are, is actually not so much more wider, but higher.
Really?
It's called the depth. And you could actually go online and call deep depth shoes. The depth is, how up and down. Right. So you could actually buy shoes like that. I think Skechers are big with that. So you can still get a 10.5, regular size, but you get a higher toe box. And that could help, especially if you have hammer toes, crooked toes, all of that stuff, it really works. But let's go. So the other thing, then what we do here is the next thing we do is we have orthotics. These are inserts that go in your shoes, and there's all different kinds. Here's just a picture of it.
You can see the orthotic
Arch.
And how it's molded for that arch. Yeah.
Right. There's custom. You could buy ones over the counter. Yeah. They're all right.
There's a flat foot down there.
Right.
There.
There's a flat foot, and you could buy these things over the counter, but in my opinion, they don't really work that well.
Yeah.
If you're getting that much problem, you need to come in.
Yeah, you're buying like for flat feet. You're buying a generic insole for flat feet.
Right.
If you want something that's made specifically for your feet, you go to guys like Dr. Kachmar here.
Yeah, we make special orthotics. We have a lab that makes them. You could just want to show. See, here's some more. But there's a lot of over the counter stuff. And you know what? Most people they when they come to me, they've failed with these things. They're not that expensive, but I mean they most insurances cover orthotics. Here's here's a pair. We have custom made ones that we do. I just want to show you so you can get rid of that, Jeremy. Go back.
Yeah.
So you asked me what do we do? How do we do it? So what we do is this: you'll come in and you'll have, say, heel pain. We'll take a bunch of X-rays and we'll examine you. We'll make sure what the diagnosis is, because you got to have an accurate diagnosis. So once we have the diagnosis, we may give you a cortisone injection. We may try physical therapy, but we will give you these orthotics. Now they're very sophisticated. It's a sheet of paper, Jeremy.
Yeah.
That has 20, 30, maybe actually probably more like 50 different prescription modifications for the orthotic. And what we'll do is we'll cast your feet. We'll take these fiberglass casts of your feet, and we do them in the office. And your foot's held and your ankle's held in a certain position. And they're sent off to the lab. And what the lab will do is they'll pour plaster in there, and they'll make a positive of your foot. And then they'll make the orthotic
around that.
So
they're making a duplicate of your foot out of plaster.
Yes.
And then they mold the orthotic around
Yes.
a model of your foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I could do is I add on a prescription. I could do all kinds of things. And you say, well, what do you want to do? Well, it depends on what your problem is, what your deformity is, what your injury is.
Right.
Because these things could do a lot, and they could compensate where the shoe can't.
Right.
So what I do is, we always try shoe modification, but then if we find out we're not be able to do that, then we get the orthotic, which is called an insert, which is orthotic, or I call them offloading devices.
Gotcha.
And we try to offload. If you have a wound that's not healing, an ulcer or a pre-ulcer on your foot or bad calluses, these things could really help. If you got tendon injuries, these things could really help.
Gotcha.
If your foot's collapsing and you have a lot of flat foot pain because of the flat foot, the orthotic could make your foot go more normal, to a normal position. So all of those things the insert does. Actually, if the insert fails, then we talk about surgery.
Right.
And then what my goal is try to bring your foot and ankle back to a position where the orthotic could help you then. Some people are so far gone, the orthotic don't even help them. So we operate on them. Yeah. And after we're done operating on them, then we put them in an orthotic.
Right.
Then we can control them.
Yeah.
So again, you start with conservative therapy, shoe modification. Next thing is orthotics, and then the next thing is surgery. We have very good success with heel pain with the orthotics, because heel pain, you need to get a couple cortisone injections, physical therapy, and then for the long term, so the heel pain does not come back, you wear an orthotic.
Right.
Yeah, but a lot of, say for you, like say people who are diabetic and they have loss of feeling in their feet, orthotic could give you a lot of protection. And I'll tell you, one of the things, there's a program, Jeremy, it's the Medicare has it. If you're not with a Medicare Advantage, but if you have straight Medicare, they will cover Medicare now. If you're diabetic, number one, if you're diabetic, and if you have calluses or what they call pre-ulcer, pressure areas, and you have either poor circulation or neuropathy associated with the diabetes, they will cover every year. Medicare will pay for a shoe, a special shoe, or a running shoe, or they got really beautiful shoes, and 3 inserts. So every 4 months, right? You take that insert out and put the new one in. They give you, so when you come to our office, we fit you, we get all the pre-certification and approvals. You get the shoe and you get 3 inserts. Right. So what you do is, you wear the shoe and take the insole out and put the new one in. The shoe lasts you a year, and the insoles last you, 4 months.
And you know what? I'm talking to our seniors out there. If you're older now, it's more important than ever to be wearing the correct footwear, because those feet of yours, they've walked their miles, and now it's time to make sure they walk the rest of them. Yeah. I'm looking here at the Diabetic Shoe Program, and you could go online for it, and let me see if I could pull it up here. Yeah, sure.
Medicare. Yeah. And they have really nice shoes, and this is more generic here. Let me just go this way here.
But I'm right when I say that about seniors, right?
Here, put this back up. Oh yeah. So now these are some of the prices. You don't pay this. Medicare pays it. But look at the shoes you could get. This is, these things are the diabetic shoes. They have special shoes. And
you know what though? Hang on. Go back up. Go back up. See that shoe? It's right in the middle.
Right.
That shoe right there.
Well, I'm sorry. Hang on.
It looks like
a
special shoe for people who have diabetes, and that's why I've never liked them.
Well, what about this shoe?
It still looks like a special shoe.
I tell you what, they got so many. This is just one webpage. They have so many shoes now.
See, now that boot
looks like special. What about there?
That boot looks special.
These are all diabetic. What about that? I don't know.
I wouldn't wear Velcro anymore. Come on, dude.
Well, some people don't have the fingers. They can't. They have to wear Velcro.
Oh, that's true.
Or they can't. They can't reach down there. What the big thing too is to get shoes that you don't even need to tie.
The slip-ons, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine that would be easier for seniors. It's easier for people like me. I wear what brand are those? They're downstairs. But I wear, it's not Crocs. It's
see, it says here you don't need a prescription, but you do. If you want to have, you could get out of that.
I do have slip-ons that I wear. I am a diabetic, and I have to be careful with my feet, especially with I have a bad back and I have nerve damage in my legs, so I am already at a risk of tripping and falling. So wearing the right kind of shoes, and I kind of I wear comfortable, like they're almost like outdoor slippers is what I wear.
Right.
Yeah.
If you think about it, Jeremy, why does the federal government, pay for this? Pay for the shoes, and why do they pay for it? Because they know that it prevents loss of legs and in fact death. It reduces the infection rate. It induces the infections. So just think about what I just said. You're diabetic, you have poor circulation, you have a neuropathy, you have some deformity of your foot, you get calluses. They break down into ulcers and they get infected. So the federal government knows this. They wouldn't spend dilly squat if they didn't think it worked. Trust me. Medicare is stingy like your Uncle Jimmy.
What's the popular phrase nowadays? Follow the science. This is science you can actually trust in.
Well, let me tell you something. If Medicare is paying for it, it's got to work.
It's got to work because they're not going to pay for
no. But think about that when you come into my office and I tell you about changing your shoes.
Yeah.
If a diabetic shoe will save your leg, and if you're at risk, what about just changing up to a better shoe environment just for normal daily living? You're going to feel better. Yeah. It's going to affect your back better, your knees. So that's the thing. But
I just wish more of these shoes that are good for your feet would look more stylish than they do.
They are, Jeremy. You're not looking around. No. They're there. They're coming out. Yeah, they have a really well. When you say that, you need a shoe that has. I tell you what, the best shoe, in my opinion, best environment is a running shoe.
Yeah.
And some of the best running shoes used to be Nike, New Balance, Skechers, but it's also the size. Yeah. And then again, people that come to me, we also put an orthotic in there, a very sophisticated orthotic that the insurance covers, and they're molded and they're really good. And we make hundreds and hundreds of orthotics a month. I mean, we make a lot, and people do very well with them. It's amazing to me, how much it helps. People have these painful neuromas, they have arthritis, and we can manipulate these orthotics to really help them a lot and make a big difference.
You know what would be a good follow-up for this episode? If we did a little work on certain brands of shoes and why they're bad for you.
Yeah, I don't like doing that because it's you know what? It's not that I don't like doing that.
Because it's not easy. It brings it up to me because I used to wear Vans all the time.
Yeah,
and skateboard shoes with they're not meant for people with arches.
Well, here's the thing: it's not that they're bad shoes. I guess I would say yes, that's not a bad. But people are friggin' vain. Yes. They don't want to wear. You need support. Listen, when you're 9, 10, 15, 20, you go barefoot. I mean, George Washington, when he was going across the Delaware, he had his soldiers, they didn't have shoes. When you're young, when you're older, you need shoes. You can't go around without shoes in New Jersey in the wintertime. You freeze. Yeah. And also...
Actually, it's a fact. The battle at Gettysburg would never have happened if the Army didn't need shoes for their men. They actually traveled up that far and or went to Gettysburg because there was a shoe place there, and that's where the war started. Right. Yeah. So if the men didn't need proper footwear, there would never have been a battle at Gettysburg.
Well, and the point being is, it makes a big difference. Shoe gear is something that we don't think about, and we're like, okay, but people who are really sick or people who are at risk. The Medicare government will pay for it, and there's also another whole category that we didn't even talk about, and that's braces, foot drop braces, and things like that.
Okay.
And let me just pull that up because that's another.
No, I know a little bit about foot drop. I've had foot drop, and thank God there was an operation that fixed me. But foot drop is not a great thing.
Well, there's all kinds of. What do you call it? Braces? Just can you give me put me back up?
Yeah, I'll put you back on.
So this is another thing that we talk about, and these are braces that we have. There's your foot drop brace right there.
That's an interesting one there. It braces around your calf and connects
it's a low profile.
Orthotic. Yeah.
These are just braces, all kinds of braces that we usually send people out for these braces to be made. Yeah. There's still people who have cerebral palsy. You don't see the polio as much anymore, but people who have head injury.
There? You see those socks?
They're sleeves. They're actually different kind of sleeves.
Are they any good? Or
there's all kinds. I mean, listen. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of braces. But I just want to make people, when we talk about orthotics and we talk about inserts, people on our on our podcast.
Look at that one here.
Yeah,
that keeps your foot up if you have drop foot.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
can we blow that up?
Yeah. So
look at that. Look how there's that strap there to keep your foot up.
Yeah, people on our podcast, you got to go to our webpage. Yeah. Go to our Facebook or YouTube channel and see these, they'll be archived. There's a million different kind of braces here, and it goes on and on. We make them in the office. We have some, like say you have a tibialis posterior tendon. I don't even know what that is, but an injury. We actually have a special brace. It's called a Pttd brace.
Okay.
There's actually braces made to help certain.
Pttd brace.
Yeah, it's posterior tibial tendon dysfunction brace.
Oh.
For that's a tendon inside your ankle, the medial side of your ankle that's injured. There's foot drop braces, and they come out. I had a kid come in. He was involved in a severe car accident. He lost part of his leg. Yeah. He has a prosthesis that's actually wired to his nervous system, and it's electronically. His brain and the electronics work together to move his leg.
Really?
Yes.
That's fascinating.
It's his own right, and he told me I think it was like $100,000 brace, but it's an amazing.
Wow.
He could walk.
Yeah.
So these are the things we use different labs for this. We send them out, but I just want to get people to understand these are all your braces here, Jeremy. People go look at these. So these are in the same ballpark as orthotics. A lot of these are custom made. You could get rid of that, Jeremy.
Right,
a lot of these are custom made braces. And you need to have a doctor usually write the prescription, because it's not just the idea of making it. You gotta get the prescription. You gotta know how to do it. And I tell you where the science now has really blossomed is in all of these soldiers from the Afghanistan war. They had their legs blown off, and they're getting these braces. I'll tell you a quick story. This is some
of those guys are like news correspondents now, like or anchors. You
wouldn't even know they don't have a leg.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. I had a kid who was standing on he was using one of those riding mowers, and he hit they're dangerous, by the way. And they're dangerous for the fact that if you're driving them where there's a hill, it could topple over, and it toppled over, and his leg got caught underneath on the blade, and it cut off the whole, his calf and down almost to the bone was cut.
Oh my God!
So a friend of mine, Dr. Rosen, got him initially. We were both doing trauma at Jersey Shore Medical Center, and that's back in the day when I did ER call, and he got the case and he operated on him several times. I finally got the kid helped. I was helping Dr. Rosen. He lost feeling to his foot. Make a long story short, we after like 10 operations, we were just getting nowhere. We really we weren't able to really help him, and he was about 15 years old at that time. There was the champion skateboarder in the United States had a below the knee amputation. He had a brace. And I said to this kid, I remember his mother was there, and it wasn't going to work, and he lost the feeling, and the leg was deformed. I said, listen, let's entertain getting a below the knee amputation, get you fitted for a brace. And after about 2 years, he came back to me, and that kid was so happy. He was doing everything he wanted to do. And I had another girl, same thing, a young girl. She had a severe deformity. We operated on her. I took care of her over the years. She was young. Probably I got her when she was about 9 or 10. By the time she hit 20, she had multiple infections. She went to other places, other doctors, but I tried to do the best I can. We did reconstructive surgery, but she was born with this horrible deformity. Yeah. Anyway, she came to me, and her father was there, and I said, listen, I think at this point, with the braces that we have and the technology, the best thing is amputate this leg, and you can move on with your life. And that's what happened. We amputated the leg. Dr. Kadersha and I, we put a brace on her. And
Tom Kadersha.
And she came to my office a few years later with a baby. She got married. She was like the best thing I ever did in my life.
I love those stories.
But my point about that is the bracing really was helping. And the new braces we have today, and the brace people who make the braces are unbelievable. The technology we have is just amazing.
Yeah.
And it's. I think that hey, there you are, Jeremy.
Hey.
So you got orthotics, you have bracing, you have people who lose their limbs, you have electronically supported bracing. They hook into your nervous system.
Right.
It's amazing what they could do.
Yeah.
It really is. So that's the kind of stuff I want to talk about. We all started from shoe to shoe modification, and let's go. We talk about our super spreader.
Super spreader.
Yeah. So anyway, that's.
So what was it? What did we find out here about the should shoes be quarantined? What's the answer?
I say yes. I think what you should do, we do it on the boat. If somebody comes on a boat, the shoes, you are not allowed to wear your dress shoes or your shoes on a boat because it just brings the dirt and it grinds it in.
Really?
Yeah. So when my buddies who all have my buddies who do the charter boat business, there'll be a box. There'll be a what do you call it? Like a little what's the word I want to use? Shoe box. It'd be
big. Yeah, you step into it. You take your shoes off.
Yeah. Well, they put it up. Wicker, like a wicker box.
Oh,
wicker.
okay,
I'm trying to think of what it was made out of.
Right.
You throw your shoes in there, and they recommend that when you go down to do a charter on a boat, you're going to be on a boat, you bring your own new shoes, either new slippers or Crocs really work well. I think Crocs are one of the best products out there. A lot of people, it gives them some more support.
I wore them for years. Yeah. For years. I had really cool ones.
A lot of people who come into me who can't even walk anymore and they need surgery, they got such a bad deformity.
Nurses have switched to Crocs now, right. A lot of them. And those are women who are on their feet constantly. So if you see a nurse, pay close attention to their footwear.
But if you have such a bad deformity that you can't function anymore, go to a Croc. Most of the people that at end of the road that come to me they're severely deformed, they're wearing Crocs, and they tell me that's the only thing they could wear.
Yeah. But I see like big guys bigger than me, and they're wearing Crocs because I mean you go to the shoe is best for you.
So what you're saying, what did we learn? I think shoes should be quarantined. You should have a box or a rug or a carpet.
Right.
They should go there. People have it. It's a mudroom. They take their shoes off. This is nothing new we're talking about. I think a lot of people have gotten away from it. But that was a stay in my house. When I came home, your shoes came off. Yeah. We're the old, for Europeans. A lot of societies do it. And I think
we never did it when I was growing up. We never did. Now I kick them off at the door. And I go in,
I think that in this day of Corona, I think they should be cleaned. They could be a super spreader. There's a lot of germs out there. Yeah. I would take them off every once in a while. You could spray them with Lysol.
Also, like you just said, it's also different times, and you have to change with those times. That's it. Your habits,
I know Corona is on surfaces, and here's one thing I know about viruses. I can't say specifically, with Corona, but any virus.
That's C word again, Mike.
I know the regular flu virus and other viruses. When you sneeze or cough, it goes in the air, and there's dust and everything in the air, and then it settles down to the ground.
Yeah,
it will go to the floor, and then I don't know how long some of these things live. Some of them live 3 days, some of them live a day.
And you know what? You want to learn about the germs and how they're working. I mean, think about it. You walk into a house and ceiling fans are blowing.
Yeah, it's blowing its stuff.
And it's constantly whooping up the air and the dust particles and the microbes and sending them all throughout the house.
Right. And that's how these viruses get they settle on the ground, and then the air conditioning in your house or the heat comes on, and everything gets aerated. Yeah. And then you breathe it in, or your nose, or it hits your eyes. What you don't want to do is have that virus load or bacterial load on your shoes. I think what's really bad is carpets, because you bring that stuff in and the stuff gets in the carpets. Yeah. And that stuff grows. And I mean, if you look at what's in a carpet, if you can, every once in a while, you should have a carpet cleaning company come in and fumigate it. But I don't even know. What I do with over the years is I get cans of Lysol, and I spray the crap out of carpets. Yeah. I just, but we get rid of them. All the hospitals got rid of them. Most of the hospitals got rid of them. Some hospitals that are high-end hospitals, they went back with the carpets, which to me is crazy.
Bougie.
They hold bacteria. And there's actually bacteria. Talk about Mrsa, which is medicine-resistant staph aureus. You ever heard of Mrsa? It's a bad bug. Yeah. You actually have Mrsa that's hospital-acquired, that's in the hospitals, and then you have Mrsa that's outside acquired, community acquired. And you actually go into hospitals, and because the hospitals, there's a lot of people who are sick that concentrate in these hospitals, you get a specific flora in these hospitals. You get bad bugs living there.
Right.
Think about it. That's why we like to get people out of the hospital, because you go into the hospital, you're there to get better, but also there's a lot more bugs and organisms there. We clean the heck out of our hospitals, and people do really well. But think about it. If you got 400 people in a hospital and half of them got all kinds of bacteria, viruses, and everything, well, you're swinging in the air there, man.
As we're
you don't think about that, right? You don't even think about that.
Well, as we're talking, and now that we're talking about this subject about what you drag in from the outside, think of your pets.
Oh, forget about it,
right?
Oh, they're dirty. Yeah.
Then you're just unless you're buying little tiny sneakers for your cats and dogs, but
that's why the human body is amazing. There is also this thought that you need to be exposed to bacteria, viruses, and it's good because
so your immune system fights them off.
Right,
and makes your immune system stronger.
Right. You don't want to have a complete sterile environment either. That's not good. So a lot of people are like, let the kid eat the thing off the floor. It's dirty. It gives, makes them tougher.
Right.
And there is some truth to that.
Well, that's how I grew up in that world. Get out there. Go on, hustle. What? You got cancer. Well, just run a few blocks.
But if you look at polio and
you don't have cancer, hustle.
If you look at polio, how polio came around, the papers that I've read is that polio was always around. Polio is a virus that's in the water. You poop it out and you get exposed to it. It's in the ground, it's in the water, it's all over. So what has happened is, people got polio all the time, but they got it when they usually get it when they're young, and they get it from fecal contamination. What I mean by that is before the turn of the century, right? And for thousands and thousands of years, mothers would have a baby and they would breastfeed.
Right.
I mean, babies would die if they didn't get breastfed. And that's why you had wet nurses. You have other women who would breastfeed them. Yeah. But that's how you got your milk. Now, while you got your milk, you got antibodies that your mother transported to you passively in the milk. Or I want to say active, but it was in the milk.
Right.
Now, at the same time, your baby, back in those days, people would go outside in the outhouse or in the woods or in a pot or a pan, and that's where they would do their business.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't like running hot water. You'd wash your hands best you can. But you get it on your hands, you make the food, and you would get fecal contamination, poop contamination in your food, in your eyes, your mouth, and then you would get polio. But when you're a young kid and getting polio, you follow me so far, you'd have the antibodies. So you kind of... Right?
I found out a few years back that I wasn't breastfed, and now I got a beef against my mother.
Yeah, there you go. Now, if you think about this, what happened with polio, why it came out in the 50s, what changed in the turn of the century, specifically after World War II? What changed in our habits?
Oh, in our habits.
In our habits towards cleanliness.
Yeah.
Well, what happened? Well, we didn't have toilet bowls. We all of a sudden we had running water, bathtubs.
Wait,
hot water.
They didn't have
toilet.
water?
They had listen. You had outhouses. First of all, women didn't breastfeed. There was no formula back in the 40s and 50s. Formula came out. Okay. So women started not breastfeeding anymore. Started giving the kids formula. It was easier. Okay. So they didn't get the antibodies.
Right.
Also, we got cleaner. We got the wash machine. We got the toilet. We got the running hot water. People, back, if you ever watch Clint Eastwood movies, with that one Fistful of Dollars, or he'd be taking the bath. They come, you go to the bar,
a bathhouse.
Go,
or
they fill
upstairs in the bar.
You got the big bathtub. They fill it up with water.
Pitchers of hot water.
Right. That's how it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and I'm very sure they didn't clean the water a lot of times. The next guy come in, it's cheap. But we started to have this cleanliness, and what happened was kids were not getting exposed to the polio, number one, early on, because there was no fecal contamination. It was very clean, and they weren't getting the antibodies from breastfeeding. Now, if you look at one of the famous people who got polio was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He got it when he was a teen or a younger man. He was swimming in one of the rivers. What's in the river? Fecal contamination.
Right.
Swords goes out there, And so he got contaminated with polio, and he didn't have any antibodies to fight it off, and he got paralyzed from it. Not everybody who got polio get paralyzed. I think it's about 5% of people get polio get paralyzed.
You know, I wish I knew this stuff when I was a kid, because I was outside, I was playing in streams.
It's better to know if not know.
At
No,
the park, and
but you got the vaccine though. You got the
now?
No, but back then you got the polio vaccine.
Oh, okay. All
It
right.
came out in 50. Well, let me think now. 57, 58, 59.
Because honestly, the streams I walked in were
you
industrial waste.
So what they did is they came out in, I think, the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't hold me on this, with the vaccine.
Yeah.
It was the polio vaccine. Now, every child, I think in the world, but definitely in the United States, get the polio vaccine now.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't see polio anymore. And you got a lot of other vaccines, the MMR.
Was that why he was in a wheelchair?
Yes.
Because of the polio?
What happens is the polio virus affects the spinal column. And a lot of people, that's what you call the iron lung. They had actually kids who couldn't breathe. They had to put them in this giant glass enclosed iron lung. It would help. It was like a respirator. And some kids would get better. A lot of people got polio and then they got better.
Right.
But they have, back in my day when I first started practicing, I took care of a lot of people who had post-polio. Oh. We would operate on them. In fact, I did big-time studies to do reconstructive foot surgery and ankle surgery on people who had polio.
Right.
I very rarely see. I had one guy not too long ago, I ordered him a brace, but most of those people are dead.
Oh, yeah.
Because the thing about it, if it came back, like most people now, the vaccine, you could still have it if you're maybe 60, 67, 68, but a lot of people...
Later in your life.
No, now. If you would... The people who are living now who could have polio would be in their 70s, close to their 70s. Okay. I mean, they're still around, but a lot of people... and I don't know if they died sooner, but my point is that you don't see it that much anymore. Same thing with rheumatoid arthritis, where the hands are all gnarly. We have medications now that stop that from happening. Yeah, people don't realize that. We could go on and on. You know what's coming back too?
Better times.
You know what's coming back? Syphilis.
Is it really?
Time. Yeah, and that's a sexually transmitted disease.
I know.
And that could cause neuropathy and also brain. That's what
if you're out there and you're laying down with unclean women, watch yourself.
Well, what about men?
And men.
You got to be careful what you say, Jeremy. You're not politically correct.
I'm
anymore.
not.
No. Yes. You have to be very.
I come from a bygone age.
Yeah.
That's
or for that matter, laying down with who knows what.
Yeah. Who knows what?
It could be
that's
animals.
Better. Who knows what?
It could be.
Plus.
I was reading this guy married his pony.
Really?
Yeah. He I guess that's okay.
I have a friend who has a student that identifies as a horse and dresses up like one and comes into the classroom like that.
Yeah, well...
I told her to ask her why the long face.
That's a good one, Jeremy.
Thank you very much.
But so let's... I think we could, we could start to wrap this up. So I just want to... Let's go back to this one question again. Yeah. We started with shoe therapy. We started with shoe. The article is out there. It's a place for a lot of bad stuff, and especially if you got a dog. I see this typical. You got a family, 3, 4 kids, 2, 3 kids, whatever. Right. They got the dog. The dog poops out in the lawn. The father is usually the one who's got to go out there with the pooper scooper and clean it up. And then after a while he starts
what a great name for that too.
The pooper scooper. And the kids
says what it does.
The kids step on it and then they bring it in the house. And that's got to be disgusting, And I've seen it happen in my household, every household. Right. That's why we do that. Isolate, quarantine your shoes, have some slippers. You could buy cheap ones. You could get ones that are made out of paper. I've never been to Japan, but I've had friends who went there, I've been to Japanese restaurants where you take your stuff off and they give you slippers. Yeah. The spas, same thing with a spa. Yeah. You could buy cheap. That's number one. Number two is if you got carpet, I strongly recommend that you clean it periodically. And if you have the option,
we're in the process of eliminating all carpet in our house. Yeah.
I mean, they got this stuff now that's waterproof. This these laminate floors. They're so good. Yeah. And I would get rid of that. And
they look like wood. You know, you can pick out wood in every kind of shade you want. We picked out a beautiful one, and we got the guys laying that down. You know,
that's so much cleaner. It's so much easier. You hit it with, you know, whatever chemical you're going to hit it with.
Right.
Clean it up.
Right.
And I like the what do you call it? What am I talking? The spray stuff. Come on,
Febreze?
Not Febreze. No.
All right, I'm running out of stuff.
Well, you know what's really good?
Windex, Clorox,
No.
Clorox, bleach.
You know what's really good? Actually, still is one of the best disinfectant is rubbing alcohol.
Really?
Rubbing alcohol kills everything.
It's pretty expensive to keep buying rubbing alcohol.
Well, that works real well. Vinegar is really good. White vinegar.
My grandmother used to do that. She'd mix it in with water.
Yes, vinegar is good. Yeah. Diluted bleach is good, but the vinegar kills. Vinegar kills a lot of organisms.
Vinegar is great for you. Like all types of different vinegars, like the red apple.
I wouldn't drink that stuff.
Apple cider vinegar? You don't?
No,
I love it.
It's disgusting.
Well, they make tablets now of it. You don't even have to taste it. You just pop it in, and it goes.
But I think
it's good to take.
Yeah, the old standbys. It's cheap. I don't know how much. I don't think rubbing alcohol. Vinegar is cheap. But rubbing alcohol is probably more expensive. Yeah. But vinegar is very cheap. You mix it with some water, and that kills everything.
Basic white vinegar.
Right. What I was meant to say is Lysol, but a product like
Lysol.
That's a good product. It kills a lot of germs.
Palm olive?
No,
you're soaking in it.
If you want to keep the money down, you go with
Pledge.
Pledge. You go with the inexpensive stuff. Dilute bleach.
Yeah.
You know, that's what chlorine you put in a pool. You could go online. You dilute it down. You wash with that. You wash with the vinegar. I'm talking about the floors.
Right.
If you really want to sterilize, if you're going to use instruments or something, you got to take a splinter out. You can heat it up, but you put it in rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol kills actually bacterial spores.
Yeah,
we use it to disinfect in the OR. I mean, I still, there's other chemicals, but I still think one of the best things is rubbing alcohol.
You know, especially with summer coming, and with summer comes barbecues and swimming parties and all that jazz. And I know a lot of you put like a little basin of water in the front of the steps before the deck going up and into the house to wash their feet off.
That's
but
great.
Mix in a little vinegar in that.
Yes.
And that'll kill all the bacteria of them running through the grass, the patio. You know, I mean.
And then you could use it for salad dressing later on.
Yeah, you can.
on your uncle who you don't like.
After about 15 feet have been in it, it tastes more like balsamic. Perfect.
That's disgusting. That could dovetail into this too about shoe gear in the summertime. We talk about this every year. We've been going on with this. How many times do I see? I'm driving down the street and I see the guy cutting his lawn. He's got the push mower. He's got the bottle of beer in one hand. Right, he's got the newspaper in the other, reading it while he's pushing the lawnmower with flip flops on.
Right,
and I'm sitting there going, "That's
just bumping it with his waist as he moves on with these things."
I'm saying to myself, "That's Jersey Shore Trauma Center." And if you're going to cut lawn with a lawnmower, understand that's a dangerous instrument. Wear boots, wear shoes, wear jeans. Because the blade kicks up dirt and rocks and pieces of metal if it's on the lawn.
Right.
And even eye gear is probably not a bad idea. But you have to be very, very careful with the lawnmower. I've seen doing my training and my residency, the guys run over their dogs and cats sometimes because they come around.
Yeah.
And you got to be so careful. But with the shoe gear, again, we talk this. Today we're talking about shoe stuff. Wear the appropriate shoe or covering for the appropriate job. If you're going to go out there with a chainsaw and cut trees down or whatever you're going to do, don't wear a pair of flip-flops.
No.
And a pair of Bermuda shorts, flip-flops.
Some nice steel-tip boots wouldn't go amiss, Protect your feet, especially if it could, you go over a rock, the thing flips over, and you're getting your leg hacked off. Be careful with yourself.
A pair of jeans is really good. We recommend that. And also, when you do go to the beach, people don't realize around here, our sand is made from ground up shells. Over the years, the seashells, the clam shells, they break down and they turn into sand. That's what your sand is. That sand is millions of years of shells. Yeah. But because of that, what happens is when the sun hits it, it gets super, super hot.
Yeah.
And I see people come down to the beach in the summer, and they leave their flip-flops, or they don't have them. And they walk on the beach, and when they get back up and try to walk back, their feet are burning.
Yeah.
And people who have neuropathy or diabetes and may not know it, they burn their feet.
Yeah.
So on the beach, you should wear flip-flops. If you're going into water, especially a water like the bay where you don't know where you're going, water shoes are very important.
Right.
So you don't cut yourself.
Water shoes are great. Yeah. And they're great to wear even in swimming pools. Just protect your feet. You don't have to get all God knows what when you're walking back to the house across somebody's lawn from the pool. And even some of these outdoor games during the summer, be very careful because an emergency room is not too out of the possibilities. Like my dad, when he was a kid, he was playing lawn darts, right? And a lawn dart went right into his calf. Mm-hmm. He knows how that feels. Mm-hmm. He's listening right now.
Yeah.
So you be careful. And if you do end up in an emergency room for any of these and you live locally, please, you have the right to choose your doctor and ask for Dr. Michael Kachmar.
That's right. And that's a good thing, Jeremy. I forgot about that. This is Tom's River, New Jersey. I'm on staff at Jersey Shore Regional Medical Center. I'm on staff at Community Memorial Center. I'm on staff at Monmouth South. I'm on staff at Jersey Shore Hospital. Southern Ocean County Hospital down in Manahawkin. And it could call us. In fact, any hospital, if you get jammed up wherever you are, call us on our number, which is the our not this number. You call us on the 269. My office number for people who want to know it is 732. 269-1133. That's 269-1133. And you call me up, and we could probably coordinate your care and get you to see us as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I strongly recommend that. But shoe gear is important. Point I was going to make is that when you're going outside, you got to be really careful. Like the sandals, the water shoes are really good, but any kind of flip-flops. And, I know what I'm going to say. When you go, I see people, I was I was hiking.
Yeah.
And I saw these people, they were coming back down, and they were like all banged up and limping. And what they did, I was climbing up, and there was a lot of briar bushes and these like thorns. Right. And they had flip-flops on. Now I had hiking boots, and they were walking, and the thorns were going right through the flip-flops, puncturing their foot.
Jesus.
So you got to pick the right shoe. You're not going to go hiking with a pair of flip-flops.
Right.
It ain't going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
They'll just bust up, and the thorns will go through.
If you love your feet, don't do it. That's it.
And you should change them too. I think that people don't realize how important shoes are to protect you.
Okay, here's a question, okay? Because I think we're running down on our time here.
Yeah, we got to get out of here. That's enough.
What about how long does a pair of shoes last you? Or should last you?
I tell you, I generally, in my opinion, in my experience,
if you played all the smartness, you got comfortable shoes, you did everything
I'd say
we
about
talked
a year.
about today.
I'd say about a year.
A year.
You might be able to get a year out of it. Some people, if they wear down really quick, then that means that there's something going on. Depends on how well you take care of them, but usually you get to wear.
Women keep their shoes for a long time.
Yeah, well, that's different. If you have 20 pairs of shoes and you wear the one shoe twice a year, they're going to last you for a long, long time.
Right.
And there's no reason. That's fine. That's not a bad thing. But they could last you. I think
some men. I mean, we wear shoes until they fall off us, and then we buy another pair.
Yeah. They used to there used to be a profession called shoemakers.
Right.
And people used to bring the shoes there. I don't know if there's any around. There might be some.
They had special elves and everything.
You bring your shoes there, and they would put new soles on them. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid because you didn't have the money.
Right.
And they would put new soles, new heels.
You know who did jokes about that all the time? It was like Laurel and Hardy.
Oh, yeah.
Remember they'd always have to put a big thick slice of salami in the sole of the
Oh,
shoe
yeah,
to
yeah.
cover up
Or
the hole.
newspaper. People
Or
used to put newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, and people used to hand down the shoes because that's how poor. That's why people.
Charlie Chaplin always had holes in the bottom.
This is what I'm saying to people right now. People don't think we're ever going to have this. You know, the way we're going in this country right now, we could have a time where we could go back to that. But we're getting back to the shoemaker. You would bring them in there. They would polish them. There used to sit there. I think they still have at the airports that shine shoes and stuff like that. But you would have these individuals, they're shoemakers, and they would do all kinds of things, stretch the shoes, but repair them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that. I think that's a lost art. You know.
Well, I think because footwear became designer, it stopped being a thing that you were able to get fixed. I don't know if shoemakers. You know, I mean, there were like basic shoes that the people wore that were what shoemakers could fix. But now with sneakers and everything, they adhere everything differently. It's not like before where it was all threaded in and stuff.
Yeah, but if you have these women's shoes that are $500, $700, they're going to go get them repaired. I bet you there's high-end people. Yeah, if you think, you know, I mean, you have these.
I mean, yeah, they are expensive. So
yeah, but those kind of shoes, I bet you the amount of money there's a market for them to be repaired.
Right.
Especially if they're, you know, $1,000 or something like that. But the point being here is that shoe make a difference. If you are listening to this, and I would recommend the best environment, in my opinion. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. I'm a doctor of podiatric medicine. I think running shoes are great. I think Crocs are really good. Not everybody could wear them, but I think Crocs is another good thing to wear in the house. And I believe that you should be wearing something on your feet. You should also go barefoot. Not a bad idea to walk on the beach and strengthen your feet up. There's nothing wrong with that either. And you could, you know, have flats or stuff, but most of the time, try to think about what you're going to wear, when you're going to wear it, and what's the application. And shoes, like you said, steel-tip shoes protect you. Shoes that are warm keep you warm. You know, you don't want to get cold. And waterproof. Another thing is, like I see people. Last year, I had a guy. He was pouring cement. He decided to do some cement work in his yard. Right?
Yeah.
A nice guy. I remember he came in. So he starts making up the cement. He's wearing his running shoes. He didn't think he's going to go get special boots or anything. He's doing the cement, and he's doing it, and he's stepping in it, and he's getting it. He got it in his sneakers, and it got his feet wet. Well, the chemicals that are in this cement burnt the crap out of his feet. I don't know if it was lying there. I forget. He came in with a second-degree chemical burn. It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. And you know, and he goes, what? You know, I said, well, you know, next time.
Well, what did you do for him? I'd love to hear that.
Well, we cleaned him up. I put him on antibiotic. We gave him special burn cream.
Oh, okay.
You know, he had to stay off of it.
It was that bad.
Oh, it was bad. His skin was peeling off.
Oh my God.
Like a severe. What would be a second-degree burn is like severe blister, sunburn.
Right.
You know, the white blisters and the blisters. And, you know, and I told him, I said, if you're going to do work like that with chemicals, especially cement, you need to wear boots, waterproof boots. You cannot get your feet. That chemical will really hurt you. Same thing when you use other chemicals. You're washing the house with bleach. You know, bleach is okay, but you got to be careful. Even when you dilute it, it could burn your skin, and especially if you're there all day long, you're power washing your house. You got to put a little bleach in. It's not enough to kill you, but your feet are soaking wet. By the end of the day, you know it's melting your skin away.
And that's another good question. Not to drag everything out further than we are, but what happens when sneakers get wet outside in different ways, not just from the hose, but like, say they were running in a stream, that shoe is soaking up.
Yeah, you got to dry
everything. No, but it's got to be something more than dry now, because all those microbes, they're going.
Yeah, but they'll die eventually. Listen, you could put a lot of those. You could put in a wash machine on delicate. Or you could soak them. Again, what I tell people is soap and water. If you put what do you call it? The bleach. It'll bleach everything. It'll lose the color. You might want to put vinegar. So you soak them in water and vinegar, you go online, they'll give you the combos, the combination,
The best way to do it.
the how to dilute it, how much, the levels, the quantities, and then you soak it in that, and then you want to dry them. You can put them in the dryer. You can put them outside, hang them up on a line. You let the sun dry them out, and you dry them out. Will they be the same forever and ever and ever? No, they're going to lose the springiness, but. You could salvage them, and you don't have to worry about the bacteria growth in it.
Another reason why you should be careful where you step in, where you're going. In
my office, we strongly recommend baby powder. Powder the hell out of everything.
Really?
It reduces the sweating in your feet. It kills a lot of it reduces the moisture, and moisture is what a lot of these organisms need. Yeah. And if you, especially the bacteria, you starve them of that.
Dark, moist areas like in a shoe or something that. That'll do it.
And it's the talcum powder. Is it talcum? No, it's a cornstarch. You don't want to use the talcum. That's the one that gives you. That's the bad one. So I think the baby powder is corn. It's cornstarch. Yeah, I think it's corn. Pretty safe. So anyway, Jeremy, let's say goodbye.
Yeah.
How about you put my webpage up there?
Let's do that.
So we want to start saying goodbye to everybody. And so again, I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon.
Yeah.
I am a doctor of podiatric medicine. You could get a hold of us. Jeremy, why don't you tell us how to get a hold of us? Jeremy?
How about that?
How about telling us?
You can get a hold of us at Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center.com. What's the phone number? I always forget.
732-269-1133.
And remember, this is a podcast as well as being a live video podcast. So if you want the full benefits of our show, please watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble. Share and subscribe and press that bell notification so you know when we're going live. And then if you miss our show or maybe you don't want to watch it, we're also on podcasts all over the place.
Spotify,
iTunes, Yahoo, Google. All of that jazz. You're going to be able to find our shows on the Kachmar Network.
Put that, Jeremy, put the our email address too.
Yes.
We really like you to email us, and that's drkachmar, that's Kachmar, drkachmar at iCloud.com. That's CLOUD. Send us a message. That's we answer that. We'll get you maybe on the show.
If there's anything that you'd like to hear us talk about, today we concentrated on medicine, but sometimes it's a mixed bag. Right. And on this channel,
tell them about our other channels while you're at it.
On this channel, we also have Lifeguards Off Duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar. Summers are fastly approaching, and you want to know everything that is happening right there at the Jersey Shore. Listen to Lifeguards Off Duty. There's also Painless with Dr. Gabriel Jasper. If you're suffering pain and anything like that, you can watch that show. His website is jaspermd.com for more information about him. And then tomorrow morning we have Radio Free America with Dr. Barbara Schneider. It's a right-wing political talk show for those of you who believe as we do, and you want a voice out there to listen to. Listen to Dr. Barbara Schneider and me. We really get to the dirt, and it's a great show.
And what time is that going to be at, Jeremy?
That's going to be at
11 o'clock.
11 to 12 tomorrow.
All right, Jeremy. Well, listen, everyone, let's say goodbye. Jeremy, thank you very much.
Next week on Scrubbing Up, I will be doing the show from England, so that'll be fun and interesting.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to over the pond. Over the pond. All right, Jeremy, how about sending us off? Everyone, have a nice evening. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, and remember, like I always say, be kind to each other. We need that more and more now, every day.
You got to end it, Jeremy. No. You don't know it right there. It says finish.
Oh, finish.
Sorry, Jeremy.
Sorry, guys.